Hey guys, welcome back to Aimstone channel. I'm with a good friend of mine, Vlad Gavlenko. He is an entrepreneur as well as early Bitcoin adopter. So how you doing, Vlad?
I'm doing good. It was good to see you in New York a few days ago.
Right, yes, a few
And
days ago I was in New York. We had a great time. We had a picnic and just hang out with a couple of friends of ours. Okay, so let's start an interview. Let me ask you the first question. How did you found out about Bitcoin and when did you invest in Bitcoin?
it's really funny story because two guys I used to work with back then in Ukraine, they also IT guys. They told me almost in the same time that they mining Bitcoin on a computer. And that
Uh-huh.
time it was possible. But I was so busy in New York here, and I kind of was thinking I'm gonna look later. I'm gonna look later, and like 2 years later, I look on a white page. I start reading. I fell
White
asleep,
paper.
and I fell asleep. And after that, another guy told me that are you serious? You gotta dig out. And he said that his friend, actually computer genius, uh, he's mining Bitcoin. And I start looking all the information available and how to get Bitcoin. I was thinking I'm gonna buy Bitcoin, but it was so strange how to buy in that time because we didn't have exchanges in that
Right.
time.
Yep.
You have to wire transfer wire money in Japan. It took like 3 days. After that
Right.
confirmation, another 3 days, and after that they give you some sort of private keys on the paper. I
Uh-huh.
have to send my money in Japan, and I was thinking that's kind of scam or something, you know.
Uh-huh.
And and a little bit later, I start digging out what is it private keys and what is it public keys, and I start reading. And when I get it, I couldn't sleep like 2 days. I
Uh-huh.
figured that the guy who creates this, he's a genius.
Yeah, that was your aha
That
moment during that time.
that was still it took me quite a few days to figure it out how all this works and why is kind of secure. Because
Do you remember what year was
what
that?
year it's probably 14 or 13, something like that.
2014. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, back
that it
then
was
Bitcoin. Yeah, go
cost
ahead.
like $100 or something. Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah, it was like a few $100 during that time.
yeah, and I didn't wire, of course,
Uh-huh.
my money to Japan, and after that, I start looking. We had already a few exchanges, which is also hard to get that Bitcoin, and only when U.S. exchanges created, I basically bought few Bitcoins
Hmm.
from American exchanges. That's
Got
how
it.
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, back in the days,
Strange. Yeah,
yeah, back in the days, it wasn't easy to get Bitcoins, but now technology
absolutely not technology.
going
Yeah,
all the time, going higher all the time, and you
yeah.
can easily get Bitcoin through the Coinbase, or if you're like large investor, you can get
Gemini,
your OTC, yeah,
yeah,
so on and
Gemini.
so
After
forth.
that, after that, they like a mushrooms. They start growing everywhere. Those exchanges, and I start buying, and I start actually. I giving all my friends little portions of Bitcoin so they can
Uh,
see what it is. They can play. I'm still doing now this.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to orange pill your friends, just like you
Yeah,
actually,
that's correct.
right.
That's
Actually, I started
correct.
buying
Yeah,
Bitcoin because you actually convinced me. Back
yeah.
in the days, like 2014, 2015, I was like an old school Warren Buffett value investor, just looking to like a deep value, to look into some discounted companies and trying to buy them on stocks. And then you told me about Bitcoin. I disregarded at first because I think it's just like speculation. I'm listening to
Mhm.
Warren Buffett. He says there's a big difference between investment and speculation. But then I realized that Bitcoin is not really that speculative. If you ignore the price, Bitcoin can actually be as a hedge against inflation, as we know that the Federal Reserve continue to print in more and more money, and Bitcoin actually eats that inflation, which is benefits people who actually hold the Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin. It's a yeah. When I figured that Bitcoin is a quiet revolution that we can use, besides the banks and all central authority missing, it's actually crazy what Bitcoin can, how Bitcoin can change our life. It could be changed dramatically. Even
Yes,
government could be changed because we have completely decentralized system that can work right now. There is no
right.
central authority, no single point of failure.
Yeah, yes,
It's
exactly.
really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, and Bitcoin is borderless, doesn't have a smell, doesn't have weight. You can store literally million or billion dollars in Bitcoin in your head and
Yeah,
travel all over the world. But you cannot do
yeah,
that with a bar of gold or with, like, let's say it's $20,000 in your pocket. That's not going to happen. So
yeah. You
Bitcoin
don't have
is
to pay property tax on Bitcoin.
exactly.
you can
I mean,
you
when
can
you
keep it.
transfer,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, when you sell it, then yes, you have to pay like capital
Yeah,
gain
no,
tax. But
when you sell it, definitely, yeah. But I'm talking about if you buy, for example, like houses or apartments, you're still tied to
yeah,
the property tax.
you have
Yeah,
to pay monthly expenses, and Bitcoin doesn't have that.
yeah, that's correct. And it's borderless. It's you can literally send in over the
It's
internet.
It's
Uh,
divisible gold. You
yeah,
cannot divide ounce of
yeah,
gold in 100 pieces, and you can divide Bitcoin. And
on 100 million pieces. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
that's
okay,
really cool.
yeah. So let me ask you a next question. As we know, Bitcoin halving is coming in April 2024, which is around 7 months from today. What do you think is going to happen, like to Bitcoin price? Of course, we have a bunch of other catalysts. We have of course, Bitcoin halving. Then we have election coming up in 2024, and then of course there's potential Bitcoin spot yeah that could even happen this year. What do you think can happen to Bitcoin if all of them or even one of these catalysts will materialize?
You see, my point of view on this happening, actually on all other happenings, they're not going to be increased price as it first few happenings, because you should understand, if you divide, for example, 100 on a half, it's going to be 50-50. But if happening moving to the end, let's say you just going to divide like one by half, that's not going to be as influential, let's say, on Bitcoin as it used to be on the
Right.
first
Yeah.
few happenings.
Yeah.
But still, yeah,
First we had 50 Bitcoins per block, then
yeah.
25, then 12.5, then 6.25,
That,
and
that,
then next Bitcoin halving, I think we have like 3.125.
yeah,
So
that's correct. It's going to be less and less influential, as I
mhm,
said, because right now it's like people just scared to looking on a graph that was like a few years back, and
right.
especially people who doing investments, when they looking back then on a few years ago how Bitcoin behaved, they say you can't deal with this. That's really strange, but they don't understand something. It's not investment for a year or two. It could
Right.
be generational. That's what it is. And when people start using more and more, it's total different picture for the store of value, let's say, than we have now. Because right now, like I have doctors, I have friends who's really rich guys. They have 5 apartments in New York. They have 3 apartments in LA. They have apartments. They have everywhere apartments. It's a store of value for Americans.
Right.
And
And they're
people
constantly
who,
paying monthly expenses on those assets.
how about the property tax?
Yeah, exactly.
Property tax is insane, especially if it's nice area or close to the beach, or
Right.
house cost $1 million. It's a certain percentage you have to pay. Yes, it's going to be increased, but it's not going to be increased because a house got better. It's just because they
We have more
printing money.
inflation.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just because they printing money. Real store of value. It's real savings account. I think that's what it's going to be
Bitcoin,
in the
right?
future. Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
also
what
have
my.
like Bitcoin is market cap is around like slightly over 500 billion. And
Mhm.
if you take all financial institutions that actually applied for Bitcoin spot ETF, you have BlackRock, Bitwise, ARK Invest, and so on and so forth. Combined is over like $17 trillion. So that's like 34 times larger than current Bitcoin market cap. What do you
That's
think?
correct. That's more important actually than happening.
You
That's
think
more
so?
important
Uh-huh.
because people for example, older generation, let's say, they good for a certain way for the computer, but they limited, for example, just to use email or Google Map. That's what they're using. But if Bitcoin gonna be adopted through the institutional leverage like ETFs or some other vehicles, hedge funds, and so on, it's gonna be total different picture. It's gonna be total different.
Right, because they can actually hold Bitcoin in their pension accounts, which is
that's correct.
right.
They can use like a regular investments account to hold it, pensions account to hold it. Yeah,
just
that's gonna
recently
be.
Grayscale won the lawsuit against SEC. So SEC, judge gave the green light to SEC to actually review the application before they did not even want to review it. Of course, doesn't mean then they're going to approve it right away, but at least they will have to review. And I think they're going to probably approve the Bitcoin spot from Grayscale. I think
it's a first step to win.
Right.
If that battle, it's a first step to win. Yeah.
I think it might be BlackRock because they have like so many interchangeable employees between SEC and BlackRock, so they have possibly some inside information. So possibly BlackRock knows something that public doesn't. So I think maybe BlackRock could be the first to get approval from SEC, which of course
it's possible even special
BlackRock
interest they have on this.
Yeah,
they probably no demand. That's what I would say. That's why because if you remember back then, a few years ago, they were telling about the Bitcoin, what it is. It's just for the dark market money.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's gonna be changed, and it's gonna be changed by a newer generation of users like you and me, and our kids probably. That's what it is.
Yeah, technology continues to grow exponentially, and Bitcoin is leading that way.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say about the Bitcoin, like I said, that the whole system of like without central authority, that's actually a step for the future, because I was in multiple countries. I was witness like Soviet Union disappeared. The problem, all governments kind of the same. They like any other company, they expanding, and that's actually goes to decrease all our potential production companies, people who because it's a lot easier to say what to do than to create a real product or create a company
than doing it.
Or to control people. We're going to get to the point, I believe, that the people who more than people who produce something. That's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Because look in the government, it's just a bubble, enormous bubble that's never shrinks. It's always expanding.
It's built on credit, and the credit continues to go higher and higher. There is no other way around. Otherwise, it would be like just a pin pop in the bubble.
Yeah, that's true. And a simple set of rules that could be programmed, and everyone kind of on that frame. That's what I see, how it could be done.
But it has to be decentralized.
Yeah, it has to be decentralized. That's correct. It has to be some sort of blockchain that you cannot rewrite the history. Look what's going on in Russia now. Exactly. Nobody can prove what had been done and how it had been done.
Yeah, everybody has their own stories and own opinions.
Yeah, that's correct. So blockchain, it's another innovation that can change everything.
Right.
Because
Bitcoin blockchain tied to the hip.
Yeah, no, I'm serious about this. That on a blockchain technology could be done something that we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly. Yes, you can actually put your birth certificate in the blockchain.
Everything.
Right.
All history data, all history of governance, wars, and all other stuff could be created on blockchain. And Bitcoin is just a beginning of the whole story, how the humans gonna be using that technology.
So what do you think about other like altcoins compared to Bitcoin? Are you like Bitcoin maximalist, or you like more open-minded to
I,
go down the
I, I
risk curve?
yeah, that's interesting question. Tell the truth, I'm thinking they need to be present right now,
Mm-hmm.
because Bitcoin is a, how to say, it's a big giant slow motion car right now.
Right.
That hard to move, impossible to stop, and
Impossible to
it's
hack.
impossible to hack eventually. But all other projects, it's innovation that can test something small without losing Bitcoin credibility, and um, they can test technology that could be applied later on a Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So
So basically
it,
that's testing ground for Bitcoin.
that's correct. It's testing ground for technology that we can use
Right.
for the next hundreds and
Right.
hundreds of
It's like
years.
we had NFTs on Ethereum and now we have some ordinals on Bitcoin, even though I'm not a big fan of NFTs, no ordinals. But yes, we do see technology emerge from like other altcoins more into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin basically,
That
the
that's correct.
blockchain is the first layer, and then on top of the blockchain, you can build number of different layers for different purposes.
Absolutely true. So the people who work right now actually on this field is the best of the best. They not work for
Exactly. Yeah.
government. Actually, they not work for government.
Yeah.
They work to
They
make
came
money to
from
do.
private
Yeah,
sector. Yeah. They're
yes,
not looking for a
yeah,
paycheck from government.
that's correct. And
Yeah.
those pro IT guys, they best of the best. That's why they have such money actually. And just people who invest on those small coins, I mean, I wouldn't recommend personally,
Right.
but
It's like
it,
gambling.
yeah, yeah, it's a kind of gambling, and you have to be constantly tracing the price for all these coins. I agree with Michael Saylor when Ethereum changed the engine
Right.
of a vehicle, transfer from proof of work to proof of stake. That I didn't like that.
Right. What's going to happen in 5 years? We don't know. Maybe there is some other protocol going to come out better than proof of stake. They're going
that's
to
correct.
hop on another one. So
That's
yeah, they're
true.
constantly evolving, and Bitcoin is the same from the day
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I'm not maximalist kind of, but I see Bitcoin as unstoppable, and all other just it just uh, like technology testing vehicles
Right.
that's going to be applied later for Bitcoin.
Basically, it's like a VC trying to which one's going to pick up in the future. Uh, Probably like 99% of them going to go to zero.
Yeah, yeah, most likely. Yeah, I mean it's definitely true. Yeah,
Yeah.
the same like was dot-com bubble. So most of the companies
Right.
just disappeared except few of them.
No,
And
for me personally, I think of altcoins like every bull market, there is a new flavor of the bull market. Like last bull market, we had like Chainlink, Terra Luna, and then a
mhm.
bunch of others. And now where are they? I don't even know where.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
who
they,
remains in the top one?
yeah,
Bitcoin.
yeah. No news about them. No, yeah,
No, it's
no
not
new
even that. They
innovation.
just like centralized. They have like central point of failure. That's exactly what happened to Terra Luna
Yeah.
and the Chainlink. I don't know.
No, no, I'm sure they good for like innovative story of blockchain itself, and I'm sure the best decision that they can do right now could be applied for Bitcoin blockchain. But still, the most important it's not speed, in our case, because
Right.
because because
Is to be
Visa can do
unbreakable and
unbreakable,
decentralized. Right.
unhackable, unbreakable, and
And you want to be slow as an elephant, not like running
that's
as a lion.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
I had an interesting conversation recently with one of my friends. He said that Bitcoin will be hacked like every other
Bank.
websites and resources. Yeah, it's
Right.
gonna be hacked. It just need uh,
More time.
more time and bright hackers. He said, yeah,
Uh,
to do that. Yeah,
Plenty
and
tried.
yeah, and it's interesting actually answer that I come up later. First, I said, listen, I said to him, it's a many years hackers trying to work on that, and all the stories just about people who's losing their password, their
Identity online.
identity through hacking attack on a computer or something. But blockchain never been hacked, and I doubt it will be hacked.
Blockchain and the Bitcoin
Yeah,
blockchain.
Bitcoin blockchain I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and that's most of the people actually refusing to invest.
Right.
Because average people can't remember a few passwords from different
Right. Yeah.
logins, and also United States is a little bit different than the other world.
Right.
It's, we here uh, uh, have a kind of steady banking system that had been created many years ago, and they have history. And parents of the parents used, for example, Chase Bank or Citibank or somebody
Right.
else, and they just don't want to be their own bank. Let's be serious.
Right.
That's what I see. But still, uh, adoption gonna be through institutional investors, and after
Right.
that, uh,
That's why we need Bitcoin Spot ETF
yeah, that's what we need ETFs, and that we need institutional or the vehicles to
to get more adoption.
to get more adoption. Uh,
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to tell you about. One of my guys also who work with me. He said, "Vlad, what the strange situation? When I create Bitcoin wallet, it didn't check if this wallet exists."
Mm.
And first, when I told him, he didn't believe me. How many wallets could be created on the Bitcoin blockchain? So it
Right.
can be
Yeah.
right. It
Every
can be right.
transaction you can make a new wallet basically.
Basically new wallet and never repeated itself, because
Yeah. Exactly.
chance is practically zero, because the wallets can be created in 10 in power of 77.
Yeah. It's
This
a huge
is
number.
such a big number that we can't even imagine. It's more than molecules in all visible universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big Bitcoin actually, but nobody knows
Right.
about this, and nobody talks about this actually.
Yeah. Very interesting.
No. Papa Pell gonna increase percentage or Papa Pell gonna
Oh,
decrease?
Jerome Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think tomorrow we actually have a FOMC meeting, and expectation is there will be no
Not gonna
interest rate
be.
hike. Yeah,
No
but
interest.
you never know because we know inflation reaccelerating higher. At least that's what they say. Official CPI numbers. Yeah, they went up from like 3.3%. I think that was the bottom, or maybe even 3%. Now we're like 3.7. So it looks like oil continues to go higher. Now it was like over like $92, $93 a barrel, which is kind of insane. So I think for September it might be another like high print of CPI. So probably going to skip this one, and possibly the next meeting. I think they're going to raise like additional 25 basis points. But I think government shooting themselves in the foot by raising rates. But of course, they have to fight inflation. The reason why, because they have over like $30 trillion in debt. And because they raising rates, they have to service the debt at the higher price. So now they will have to pay over like $1 trillion annually to service the debt. And they only get like 5 trillion from tax revenues, which is like 20%. They basically have to service the debt, and they will continue run the deficits into the future. So yeah, I think they continue. They still going to print money, and that's beneficial for Bitcoin. That's why we hold Bitcoin and we buy Bitcoin over time, because Bitcoin eats inflation basically.
Yeah, yeah. Because the only way to kind of stop this, it's to use money that not belong to
Cannot be debased.
government. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
like
it is.
gold or Bitcoin, but in my
Yeah,
personal opinion, Bitcoin is better for many
yeah,
properties, like we discussed earlier. It's more
yeah.
divisible, more portable, better store value overall than gold. But gold is not bad. But maybe gold is like for all the people like Peter Chief.
Yeah. No. Gold is not bad. Yeah, but we didn't get to that point with our uh, technical evolution. I'm sure, like hundreds years from now, we can create gold in a laboratory, just like any other.
Yeah,
Look on the
like
diamonds.
diamonds, yeah.
Well, yeah, look on
They
the
grow
diamonds right
diamonds in
now.
laboratory,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
cannot distinguish a
yeah.
laboratory grown diamond versus a earth grown diamond, which is kind of insane. You cannot do that with
Yeah,
Bitcoin. You cannot grow Bitcoin in a laboratory.
that's correct. The only
Yeah,
programming money that programmed other money that could be working,
yeah,
for us at least. Yeah, hopefully we're gonna see it our lifetime. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd say.
Right.
No,
Okay,
it's gonna
Vlad. It
change.
was yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Andre.
It was good talking to you. Thank you for
Good
coming.
talking to you too. Yeah.
Hopefully, I will see you soon again.
Okay. See you, man.